off the jaw jack, and it's time for mail call.
What's going on, everyone? First of all, I want to say shout out to Gunny. Rest in peace. Semper Fi to the big man. Whenever I was a kid growing up, one of the most influential YouTube channels that I watched was Woody's Gamertag, and he did a series called Mail Monday.
Hey guys, it's Woody the Unexceptional Gamer, and welcome to Mail Monday, a weekly series that's not so much about the gameplay, but instead is about your questions and my answers to them.
And that kind of helped me formulate what kind of growing was supposed to be like. And so I've received a lot of questions, one about the military or just about life in general. And instead of answer them onesies and twosies on stream or in a video, I figured we just do a Monday mail call. And so I picked up some questions off of a YouTube post and from the Discord. I'm going to do 9 or 10 questions. If I didn't get to your question, just know I see it. It'll roll over to the next mail call we do. If y'all don't know who I am, my name's Barry. For 3 years, I was an M1 Abrams driver, loader, gunner, commander. I believe it. And then I went to go be a warrant officer and fly helicopters. I fully qualified on the Lakota, and then became an Apache guy, where I then had a seizure, and you can't fly with epilepsy. So we're getting out of the Army soon. Decided to make a couple YouTube videos, and now I'm pretty sure I'm doing this full time. Let's get started. I'm going to keep all these anonymous for this first one, just because some people might not want their info out there. This comes from Discord. I wrote everything down because I'm old school. What do you think of the new M1A3? I saw it has some goofy looking javelin on top. So I saw it at the Detroit Auto Show. I saw the Chieftain interview he did. Concerning the javelin, I'm a fan of the javelin.
This is a javelin missile. Much in the same way farmers buy cats to eradicate a growing rodent population in the barn, Ukrainians introduced the non-native javelin species into their country to control the invasive Russian tank.
We see how vulnerable enemy tanks are to top-down attack, particularly from drones. A javelin lets us do that way better than any drone possibly could. It's a fire and forget system. You lock on, you fire, you're done. You don't got to pilot it. You don't got to put the goggles on, nothing like that. Other things that I like about the M1E3, I'm pretty sure I'm going to like the switch from a turbine engine to the diesel electric one because of the silent watch capability. 2, and we'll get into this later, I think it's going to be able to power a bunch of anti-drone weaponry that we won't have to have a turbine running for. My main thing that I like is they put wall outlets in the tank. If you wanted to charge your phone off the tank, when I was in, you had to buy this thing called a field plug, and there are 2 spots on the tank where you could jump start it. They're called the slave ports, one in the driver's hole and one on the back of the tank. This thing fit on that, had 2 USBs, and they cost $50 a piece. If you had a field plug, you were the guy. Everyone gave you everything, and now tank's got a modern outlet in it because they realize, hey, we use our phones, we use laptops for things that we need to be able to charge them for. So I really appreciate some of the creature comforts they got in there. Hopefully the seats aren't too uncomfortable, because me sitting next to 2 dudes like in an airplane, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that for 46 hours. That's the longest I ever spent in my gun seat, was 46 hours in the turret looking down a gun sight. And that shit was annoying. And that was in a turret with a little bit more space than I'm assuming what they got here. When it comes to the autoloader, I wasn't a big fan to start off with, but considering safety issues, take a guy out of the turret, there's no more worrying about being killed top down from the turret. Everyone's in the hole. There's 2 egress points. It should be way easier to get out of, hopefully. That remains to be seen. And this will kind of carry us into another question I saw. Yeah, here we go. This was from YouTube. Are modern tankers worried about the sharp rise of drone warfare? We're seeing a lot of tanks get wrecked in the Russo-Ukraine war, and they're putting improvised cages around the tanks as a protection against them. So I'll put in the clip here showing an effective way for an infantryman to make a tank blind.
That's the idea. See him ducking in? Now make him button up those flaps. There they go. See him slow down right away? They got to. They can't see worth a damn and... Wait a minute, soldier. Keep that rifle up there. See these things? Those are what he looks through. The periscope and the vision slits. Get enough small stuff bearing on those places and you blind them almost 100%.
You shoot out the periscopes. You put the blinders on them. These drones are making... They're proving that what is old may never die, because they're turning their T90s and their T80s into A7Vs again, and you can't see, and they're turning them into like the Stugs from World War II.
This is a Stug. It's Stugs.
I think the United States has the capability of dealing with drones much more effectively than limiting your peripheral vision. The M1E3 is going to allow you to do X-ray, where you can see through the hole of the tank through your visor. So that's going to be a main thing. You don't got to worry about putting blinders on if there's no blinders. I encourage you to look at the Leonidas anti-drone system. It's a towed trailer that essentially puts a big no-go fly zone around wherever you want it. And they took out a swarm of, I believe, over 40 drones with one microwave pulse. You hook that up to an Abrams, or you miniaturize it and put one on each Abrams, hook it up to the diesel electric motor, you're good to go. Or I'll show you the clip of the manual version of an anti-drone tech that we're doing right now. They put a M134 minigun in the loader station for us to, get a little active manually. Just miniaturize the CIWS or the CRAM, put a minigun on it, and if you don't care about money, that's how you shoot down drones. I would prefer the microwave. It's a one-time cost, and it runs off of gas at that point. If you look up how much it costs for a CRAM to down a missile, it's like $40,000 a missile. And that's the game that you play against cheap drones. Cheap drone costs $250 plus the warhead versus $40,000 for a CRAM to shoot it down. You're going to lose the logistics fight with that one. Or you just build a bunch of Leonidas microwave anti-drone systems. It's a bunch of upfront costs, but then you completely negate the entire drone side of things. Because eventually, a drone's got to be big enough to carry something that can penetrate through your armor. The M1 Abrams uses depleted uranium steel alloy armor. You have to have a big drone to penetrate that. It doesn't matter if you hit the turret now because the guys are in the hole. Just make the hole thicker, and if it becomes too big, you can pick it up on radar and shoot it down with other means. Another thing I like, they demoed the Abrams X with that 30mm up there. You load that with airburst shells and tie that to some software that can auto-detect drones. Drones aren't a problem anymore. If the tank is on, you're good to go. So yeah, not a fan of cope cages. I want you to be able to have as much visibility as possible. There are other ways to negate the drone threat, particularly with an aggressive anti-drone system, as opposed to I'm going to weld this cage on and hope it doesn't kill us. They're kind of on their back foot over there in Ukraine. The Russians, how they're doing. No, I don't like the Hedgehog tanks. I don't like the new A7Vs. You got to be aggressive. A good offense is also a good defense if you do it right. And we'll come back to tech and weapons. Let's get a little personal. This one comes from the Discord. Also, by the way, become a Treadhead. You get in the Discord, have a fun time, play some games, find people who also like armor. You don't have to. It's just another way you could support the channel. Here we go. Another friend from Discord asks, how do you personally manage depression when things get overwhelming and you can't stop the bad thoughts from racing? Thank you for being a shining beacon in the dark, bro. I appreciate your support, and I'm glad that you think that the advice I give may provide a little bit of clarity in things that might be troubling you. What I do whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed or I'm feeling like I can't handle what's coming up next is I zoom out, realize that this is a big picture we're dealing with, then zoom back in. This is how I tell my soldiers below me when we're on deployment, let's say, and we're not leaving for 9 months. There's nothing you can do to make that 9 months get here faster. 86,400 seconds in a day. You got to live every single one of them seconds for 9 months. So let's make the window smaller. What are we doing today? What are we doing tomorrow? Those are the only two questions you got to ask. What are we doing today? All right, let's do it. Today's over. Hey, what are we doing tomorrow? If your leader can't give you that answer, he sucks, by the way. And eventually, the answer to what are we doing tomorrow is going home. If the big picture is too much for you to comprehend, you gotta put the blinders on yourself and just be effective. Like Qui-Gon Jinn said, keep your mind here and now where it belongs. You're much more useful in the moment than you are worrying about the future or worrying about if you messed up in the past. There's going to be certain things that you can't control. You can't control other people. You can only control how you deal with other people. I used to be an angry person, and I had no mindset on how to focus that anger into bettering myself. So I was just lashing out. I wouldn't get physical with anyone, but I was pretty socially manipulative. I could get pretty mean sometimes. But that comes with age and that comes with experience. You'll learn how to focus those things, how to redirect that rage, redirect that anger into something more productive. So sometimes it's going to get overwhelming. Ride the wave. Get overwhelmed. I've had panic attacks. And then you learn how to deal with them when you have them. Sometimes you don't want to avoid being overwhelmed. You want to know what it feels like to get overwhelmed, and you want to know how you respond to being overwhelmed. You'd rather do it in a relatively safe place than, say, overseas or around people you care about and you don't know what the hell is going on. You don't know how to manage the stress. So I'd say control what you can, and if you get overwhelmed, try to do it around people that care about you. That way you can learn how to manage it and learn what the warning signs are. It's going to happen. Everyone gets overwhelmed. Everyone panics. Everyone gets stressed. And let's, speaking of zooming out, I've been getting a bunch of, hey, I'm about to be out of high school, or I'm kind of at a dead end career-wise, looking at joining the Army, also looking at being a tanker. So this is a straight shooter, all right? I'm not going to bloviate. I am not a psyop. I'm not like Luhan and them over there posing for the cameras, making things look all happy and rainbows.
What mile are you at?
I just passed mile 1. This is my second beer.
You got this.
For the record, I don't think you did.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Joining the Army is the greatest thing I ever did in my career. And it's also given me some of the worst moments ever. And I'm going to try to give you the good and the bad. So, before Barry joined the Army, I was 20 years old and I'd worked 7 jobs. I had sold cars at multiple dealerships. I worked at 7-Eleven. I worked fast food. I was delivering pizzas at the time when I decided. Oh, and I was also a detention officer for the county jail at 18 years old. Should have never worked that job. But I was working at a pizza place delivering pizzas, and I was 20 years old, and I pulled up, about to go inside and grab another order, and I was like, dude, are you going to do this for 40 years? Is this how the Barry story goes? Does the Barry story start and end with you delivering pizzas for 40 years? Hell no. That's not how this story goes.
Don't know that you got a choice, son. No man can walk out on his own story.
Took my ASVAB. I'm not trying to bloviate or pump myself up. I did great on the ASVAB. Every single MOS in the Army I could have got. But I decided if we're joining the Army, I'm going to do Army shit. I'm not going to go get a cyber job. I'm not going to go be an IT guy in the Army with a uniform. If I'm going to be in the Army, we're going to do Army shit. So immediately combat MOSs only. And I was like, man, I really want to blow shit up. Really want to shoot guns, but I don't want to walk anywhere. Now, what MOS could I pick that has me blowing stuff up, but I don't got to walk anywhere? Oh, Cav Scout, Fisters, Tankers. I play a little War Thunder at the time. I started playing War Thunder on my PS4 in 2016. So I'm kind of know a little bit about tanks. What's this tanker thing about? Well, there happened to be a 19 kilo slot open. We can get you in there ASAP. Swore in December 2019, and I told my recruiter, I will not ship unless I can watch the Super Bowl. And he made it happen to where I was watching the 2020 Super Bowl in the MEPS motel. The next day, I got on the bus to Fort Benning to go be a tanker. My going away present was I went and watched the Packers-Seahawks playoff game in Lambeau Field. It was Marshawn Lynch's last game. I'm a Packers fan, by the way. It started snowing right when the game ended. It was like a freaking Christmas card. Let's zoom out a little bit. Before you join, you got to know that this is not a cakewalk. However, it's not the hardest thing you'll ever have to do. All you have to do to become a soldier is be better than the worst soldier ever. That's it. If you go find the worst soldier in the history of the Army, that guy made it through basic training. If you can be +1 better than him, you're in. Welcome to the club. Now, I'm not saying be a piece of trash, but that's the bar, right? Go find the worst guy ever. He passed basic training too. He was technically a soldier, even though he's a shitty one. All you got to do is be better than that. And then I'll tell you, if you're going to join, buy in. This is your career now. Don't be in here begrudgingly. You didn't get drafted. You signed the dotted line as a volunteer. So make sure you're bought in. Make sure you don't get pressured into a job. So I'm saying anyone that wants to join the military, ask questions. Don't just ask your recruiter, because some of them are pieces of shit. Some of them are going to lie to you to try to pump their numbers up. I don't know how many have a quota. I was never a recruiter. I was never close to anyone that went recruiting that I re-engaged with after they went recruiter. So ask questions of your recruiter. And if you feel kind of fishy, ask other people. Go online, check Reddit, check forums. Anywhere you can, get right information. If you do not have a straight answer, make sure you get one. You do not want to be ill-informed, because I went to basic with a guy who thought he was going to go be a transport dude. Oh, just sign this 19-kilo contract. He was a foreigner from Africa. He just started signing, and now he's in a combat job. Didn't know where the hell he was. He may do. One of the better guys that I went to basic with. But what I'm getting at is, get every question you have answered. If they do not know how to answer that question, you do not let them weasel their way out of it until they get you an answer or a reason why they can't answer it. There's certain things they're not going to be able to answer. Am I going to go to war? Maybe. Maybe not. Am I going to have to kill somebody? Maybe. Maybe not. But there are certain things they can answer. How long is basic training for this MOS? Where can I be stationed if I pick this MOS? What's this place like compared to this place? There are certain things that a recruiter can answer. There are certain things that nobody can answer. Figure out the questions you have, and there's certain questions that only you can answer. Are you okay with possibly having to take someone's life? Are you okay with being away from your family? Are you okay with missing some birthdays? I have only been around one of my children's birthdays ever, and that was my son's second birthday.
I missed my son's first birthday while deployed. Here are some clips from the video I made for him.
Hey buddy, it's me, your dad. I'm kind of busy. However, someone told me that it's your first birthday tomorrow. You have a lot of friends you haven't even met yet, and you have a lot of friends you're probably never gonna meet, but they do love you. So I'm gonna go and take this here camera, and we're gonna go talk to some people who love Baker. I love you, buddy. I will be home soon. Mwah. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mini Berry.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yo, Mom! Woo! Say happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Can too.
Happy birthday, little Baker!
Yes, sir.
Your first birthday!
Can you tell my son Baker happy birthday?
Happy birthday, Baker!
Thank you. It's my son's first birthday tomorrow. Can you tell him happy birthday, please?
Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. It's my son's first birthday tomorrow. Can he get a happy birthday from Top?
Happy birthday from an unspecified location.
Yeah!
Have a great birthday.
Thank you. It's my son's first birthday tomorrow. He needs some happy birthdays.
Happy birthday!
Thank you so much.
I missed my twin girls' first birthday. I just missed their second birthday. It just happened. I've missed most of my son's birthdays. I missed him getting diagnosed with his genetic condition, his chronic genetic illness that there's no cure for. I was gone when my now ex-wife, but my best friend, had to deal with that on her own, and it was traumatic to deal with. I was worried that my daughters were not going to remember who I was because I was gone so much. That's a reality that you're going to have to accept if you have a family, if you get married, if you get divorced, if you have kids, a whole bunch of ifs. You got to be ready to deal with that because this is not high school anymore. Your mom's not going to call and say, stop treating my son this way. You got to figure it out on your own. You got to figure out how to get housed on your own. If you get married, how to get married on your own, how to have kids on your own. Mommy and daddy can't help you no more. So do not join unless you are ready to become an adult, because the drills are going to make sure, one, you're an adult, two, you're a good soldier. Before joining, there are some people worried about, one, gaining weight. I saw in the chat the other day, someone was worried about gaining weight and people worried about losing weight. I've always been on the upper end of the scale. I had to lose some weight to join the Army, and there's other people that have to gain weight to join the Army. And most body transformations happen in the kitchen. So if you need to gain weight, this means if you need to gain weight, do not skip meals. You have to eat breakfast. I don't eat breakfast because I would like to lose weight, so I skip breakfast. If you're awake, you want to have food in your stomach, and don't waste time in bed doing nothing. When it's time to go to bed, go to bed. But if you need to gain weight, honestly, eat whatever the hell you want, but make sure you're eating 3 meals a day and having a snack in between each meal. Track your calories and make sure you're eating hearty foods. Don't be, bro, you could eat whatever you want if you're trying to gain weight, but don't gain nothing but fat. Start working out as well. You want some of that weight gain to be muscle. On the other end of the spectrum, if you're trying to lose weight, it's all about calories in, calories out. As long as you are burning more calories than you're putting in your system, I don't care what you eat, but ideally you want to eat healthy foods. But if you end up burning 2,500 calories and you eat 2,000 calories, that's a net 500 calorie deficit that you're in. Good job. Figure out how to get in a caloric deficit. Figure out how much you need to eat and how much you need to burn at what weight you need to be at. It's not a secret what weight you need to be at. The Army has a certain weight you can be at what age you are, at what height you are, and then you get to start getting taped. So how big can your stomach be? How big can your neck be? I know they've changed the freaking tape test 80 million times, so I'm used to the neck and the stomach. I haven't had to do the new one. Look at what the Army's regulation is on weight whenever you're watching this video or whenever you decide to join, if you want to join, and figure out how to make it work. It's a completely different discipline issue because it's just about you. You don't got to worry about anything else but what you eat and what you do. And the only one that can change it is you. And that's basically the first hurdle you got to take when it comes to the discipline conversation. A lot of discipline the military will give you, but before you join, you got to be disciplined yourself. You got to be disciplined in the kitchen. Start in the kitchen and then get to the gym. Figure out your basic metabolic rate. That's basically how much you're going to burn just sitting there doing nothing. Everyone has it. There's a way to calculate it online. Figure out your basic metabolic rate. And if you eat less than that, you will lose weight. That's just science. And then you can kind of plug and play different kind of foods. There's a whole bunch of qualified dietitians on the internet. I'm not one of them. I'm just telling you what I used whenever I had to cut weight to make tape, or whenever I had to cut weight to join the Army, and different things like that. Because I was a big boy. I'm still a big boy. Oh, let's see. Ooh, here we go. Justin from Baltimore. He said, he gave me his name and his city, so I'm going to shout him out. I mess with the Ravens. I'm an Orioles fan. What's the most miserable you've ever been while training? So, I'm going to tell y'all a SEER story. Not allowed to talk about a bunch of the SEER curriculum, but any Googling will tell you you're out in the woods a lot, unsupervised. And this was one of those where they give you a map. We'll pick you up here in 3 days, drop you off here, figure it out. And I hadn't eaten in, I'd say, probably 2 days. I hadn't eaten in 2 days. And there's one thing I hate, and you'll hear me anytime I see rain in a military movie, anytime at all, I hate wet boots. I hate walking in wet boots. I hate wet socks. I hate wet boots, period. And we're in the middle of the Alabama woods, and it's April. It's been raining. So I'm fighting for my life, trying not to get wet boots. And I'm hungry, and I'm angry, and I'm just pissed off. I got a short fuse on everything. It's our group of 5 guys, and we're almost to where we got to go and wait for the truck whenever it decides to show up. Got to cross one river. We've been crossing a couple rivers. One of the things I found out, if you have to cross a river, there will be a tree somewhere for you to walk across. So we got to cross this river. Look, there's our tree. One guy goes, second guy goes, third guy goes, fourth guy goes. I'm the last guy in our 5-man group to go. Wobbling across the river, and I slipped. Don't know what happened, but I lost my balance, fell into the river. It wasn't deep, like 3 foot deep, some up to my thighs in water. But now my boots are soaked, and I got to walk all the way down to the bank, like 30 yards down, and then walk up. So I'm just trudging through the water, pissed, cussing. My friends, they know I hate wet boots. They're trying not to laugh, but it's funny. So they're laughing. And where I come up onto this freaking bank, I just got mad at my shoes. I got mad at my boots for how dare you be wet? And I kind of took off my boots, took off my socks, just kind of shucked them off into the woods. Mad as hell, trying to wring my socks out. Then I got to go get my boots now because my dumbass threw them in a fit of rage. This is why you learn to be appreciative of the little things. And everything that may seem like a big deal in the moment isn't a big deal. I went to get my boots. And they're over in this little thicket. Let me spread the bushes. I think, what is that? Oh, it's a raspberry bush. Oh. And it was like a Disney movie. Oh. A clearing with nothing but raspberry and blackberry bushes. And I hadn't eaten in 2 days. Brother, let me tell you how quickly I forgot about how wet my feet were. We ate berries until we threw up, and then we ate some more. So that went from the most miserable I had ever been, ever. 2 days, no food, soaking wet boots in the middle of the woods, starving and mad, to berries. That was probably the most hungry I ever been, the most miserable I ever been, the most pissed I ever been, to the most appreciative I've ever been for nature in my life, ever. So the most miserable experience I ever had turned into one of the greatest experiences I ever had, and now I look back on it fondly instead of pissed. Here's a question from YouTube. Best thing you learned in the service that will help in civilian life after the military. This might seem petty, but how to argue and anger management. I come to realize that if you are on the moral right side of things, or the factually correct side, there is no argument. Someone's just bitching and moaning in your face. This is going to sound cheesy. Spider-Man, the original one with Tobey Maguire, that was probably one of the first movies I ever remember watching. And with great power comes great responsibility, just stuck with me for some reason. And that was kind of like a moral guideline growing up as a child to a teenager to a man. If you're good at something, be helpful. If you're knowledgeable, spread the knowledge. And be morally good. If you're a good person and someone tries to argue with you for what you're doing, you've already won. And that's why I say, don't take the bait in all these episodes we've been watching. Don't take the bait. Don't lash out. There's some times when you gotta bump heads with somebody, but it's gotta be warranted. I really do not enjoy physical confrontation, even though my career says otherwise. I didn't join the army to kill people. I joined the army to protect the country I love. And if that involves doing that, then it is what it is. So, oddly enough, I joined the military and learned how to control my temper. I joined the military and learned that you don't have to lash out at everyone. Here's one. Did you ever do any training on any country's or another branch's equipment and or weapon systems? So this is, I'm not going to go a different country or a different branch, but I'll do a different branch in the Army. This was 2020. When was this? 2020/2021. So December/January. My unit was the first unit on Fort Hood to get the M1A2 SEP V3. Brand new, fresh off the line. And our first field problem we had, it was like a movie. I told this story before. We're rolling out on a tank trail, and there's an infantry unit in front of us rucking, and they had to part like the Red Sea. They're carrying full packs, full battle rattle, full weapons, and we come rolling by, and I'm drinking a soda up top, and they're looking up at me, pissed as all hell. And that's when we decided we're naming this tank Better Than Walking. Better Than Walking. We get out to our little field area, way out in the bush, get set up in our AA, and we out there for like 2 or 3 days doing maneuvers and stuff. Then one time we park, we hear like Apaches come flying over, and I'm a driver at the time, so I peek out of my driver's hole. 2 Apaches land, and they get out because they had saw those new tanks down there. We heard about them. There's tanks in the field. Let's go see the new tanks. And so Sergeant Alvarez, one of my favorite NCOs at my old unit, he has his boys hop in their tank, and they go and meet him. It's so cool. I've never seen a tank next to an Apache before, but it's one of my backgrounds on my TV. We traded them tank rides for a little bit of block instruction about the Apache, and then they called the medevac guys in the Blackhawks and like, hey, you want some tank rides? We'll bring the Blackhawk and we'll do some on-site medevac training, and we'll give all these tankers helicopter rides. So about 15 minutes later, Blackhawk comes in.
So update, we get a ride, homie.
Hey, we learned how to do a 9-line medevac using a helicopter, and they taught us how to set up the sling. We learned something, and then they were like, "Who wants to go on a helicopter ride?" It was awesome. Everyone, we swapped knowledge and how to learn how to work with each other, because no one had ever dealt with any aviation assets before like that. And we're on these new tanks, and what can these new tanks do when it comes to JBCP and like electronic stuff? If you ask how much that meant to me, I'm an Apache pilot now, so it meant a little bit. Two guys from Discord. I'm going to combine this into one question. What do you think about the M1301 ISV, and what do you think about the Ajax IFV? So if y'all aren't aware, the M1301 ISV is essentially a Chevy Colorado with a widened base and better electrics and no doors. Really, really like the idea of it because it's 90% GM parts, like off-the-shelf GM parts. So you have a tie rod brake, you just go click-it-collect GM, order one. It's like the opposite of the Hummer. The Humvee was really cool. Arnold Schwarzenegger says, I want a civilian Humvee. They make the H1 Hummer. Then they make the H2 and the H3. This is the opposite. The Chevy Colorado is a really good medium truck. Tell you what, let's just order tactical Chevy Colorados, and that's what this ISV is. Now, the Ajax IFV looks great. Reports coming out of the UK, one, hugely bloated budget. They wasted a lot of money on it. And two, it has terrible, terrible rattling issues. I've heard that everything feels like it's not bolted down right. And then there's clips of, what's this? And it's just a panel full of water because the rain all leaks into one panel and there's no way to drain it. Or there's no safety in the back hatch door. It'll just crunch your legs if you get caught up in there. There's supposed to be a safety catch. So a lot of the stuff doesn't work. It seems shoddily put together, and it kind of seems like General Electric kind of pulled one over on the UK, because the demo models they had to begin with were great. Then they start producing more, fielding more, and now it's like all roughshod. So I liked what the Ajax was supposed to be, but it's seeming like they're delivering a different product. So if they don't figure that out, I'm going to be really, really critical of the Ajax. Let's end it with a fun hypothetical. If you can own any military vehicle from any time without the need for payment, what would it be? So my real answer, I'll just get that out the way. I'm a P-51 Mustang guy, just like Tom Cruise, just like Tom Cruise. I think that's probably the greatest World War II fighter plane ever made. It's beautiful. It's a symbol of America. But if I had to pick one out there answer, and I could just have it for free, I want to pick something useful and something fun. An Ohio-class submarine. I want a fully kitted, one of those concept airships with the parasite fighters in a ballroom in the gondolas below. I want one of those old-style World War I interwar Zeppelins, but they actually work and aren't dangerous and land. So that's going to be it for the first episode of Mail Call. These aren't going to be long. If I didn't get to your question, assure you I have read it. I just didn't want to fill out the video. It'll get rolled over into the next one. Eventually, I'm going to get to everyone's, unless this becomes a hugely popular thing, then I apologize. I can't answer every question. So that's why I say, next time if you see your question already being asked, just like it so I know it's important. I really enjoy talking about my career, enjoy talking about life. All right, bonus question. People ask me my sports team. I'm a Packers fan. I prefer NFL football to college football, but I follow both. I was from Oklahoma, so I am an Oklahoma Sooners fan. My son's name is Baker. If we were gonna have a girl, we were gonna name her Kyler. So I really enjoy football. I actually know more about football than I do the Army, and I'm very well versed in the Army. I have a near autistic, encyclopedic knowledge of NFL football. I'm pulling for the Pats because the first Packers game I ever watched was the NFC Championship game when Brandon Bostic muffed the onside kick and the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl, and I've never forgiven him for that. I don't hate anyone, but I'm pulling for Drake May and the Patriots. I like Mike Vrabel. I like the kind of mindset he has as a coach. He's the first player / coach with the same team never go to a Super Bowl in NFL history, so that's awesome. It's going to be a good one, though. Baseball, I'm an Orioles fan. I'll tell that story another time. And basketball, from Oklahoma, go Thunder. They just won the championship. But I grew up as a Celtics fan, so I kind of pull for both teams. All right, yeah. Let me know if there's anything else I should talk about. Anything else y'all want me to talk about or address. Make sure y'all go subscribe to Game Like Barry. We're going to be doing some more regular gameplay videos over there. To probably throw up a couple War Thunder gameplays a week. Some Gunner Heat PC. I was having a little bit of stressful time playing it last time, but we'll throw up some more gameplays over there, and then we'll do some cinematic games. Maybe do another Red Dead 2 playthrough. I haven't played that in a while. Or a God of War and God of War Ragnarok playthrough. Also had some interest in Ghost of Yote / Ghost of Tsushima. Totally down to replay those. But it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. I hope you all are having a good weekend, and I hope you all have a good week ahead of you. Yeah, not much more to talk about. I appreciate your viewership as always. Y'all take care.